So recently, I gave a test on exponential and logs. And this section of material in my pre-calculus class is like known for being very challenging. It's function types that students aren't typically familiar with. Maybe they had never worked with exponentials and logs. So it's very challenging for the students in this section. But throughout the lessons, they tend to gain more and more confidence, and then they start to see, oh, all of these problems work exactly alike. And I always tell my students, when it feels like every problem is exactly the same, that means you understand. If you feel like you're trying to do something completely different for every single problem, there's more practice to be done. And so we worked through this section. One challenge that happened was that spring break was in the middle of this unit this year. We had a very early spring break. So I imagine that played a role. We came back from spring break. I taught maybe one more section. We had a couple days of review. I even removed one of the sections from the unit because I was like, I just don't want to overwhelm them. I feel like they need more practice on what we had learned already. Gave the test, and I started grading my first class. I have two sections of this class. I started grading my first class, and I was like, uh-oh, it's not looking good. I typically just grade page by page, so I usually have a distorted view of how well the students are doing. I started adding up the scores. Three students had like 24 or 25% out of 100. One student made a 6 out of 100, and the highest score was an 89. That never happens to me. I'm like, oh no, where did I fail these students? So immediately I started thinking about solutions. I was like, okay, well, what went wrong here? So I started categorizing which types of problems were most missed and trying to understand which concepts they did not truly understand. And so as I continued grading, I started making a list of the misconceptions that my students had, because my plan was to create a video for them and say, okay, these are the top 4 things that you all are having misconceptions around, and I want to make sure you understand these things because this material will make up 1/3 of your final exam. So let's get back into the content. And so I actually did create this video. I made a little video on my Vibe board, and I'll put the video, so I made a video about this on my YouTube channel, so I'll put a link for that in the show notes or in the description of this video so you can check it out and see what I sent my students. But yeah, I basically walked through the different misconceptions. I walked through how to solve the problems similar to the ones that were on the test, and I also highlighted all of the places where the misconceptions happened, and hopefully that helps students truly understand what was going on.